I spend a lot of time watching movies. I love them so much that sometimes I wish my life felt more like one, or at least like one of the ones that I like. Not that I want to be the bride in Kill Bill or fall in love with a married man in a Japanese hotel, but I do get jealous of movie characters. They're always experiencing things, feeling things, meeting strangers, having thought-provoking conversations. There's always something happening. My life isn't really like that. Well, sometimes it is, and it's really exciting, but most days it's just more mundane. The other day I went back through a journal I keep, one I only write in when something feels off or I'm upset, and I found this one entry. And for a moment I tried to imagine it as a scene from one of those quiet, mundane movies. The one where nothing really happens, but somehow a lot does. I had a lot of trouble relaxing on the Amtrak back home to New York on the last Saturday of September. I was wearing low-rise flare jeans from a Depop seller in Kentucky. They're great jeans for standing and for sitting really upright, but that was the last thing I wanted to do. I quickly got tired of scrolling on Instagram. Every post was of people I knew at the football game, and it gave me some fear of missing out because I had to leave early. Everyone posted the same thing. Everyone wore the same thing too. And because I had to catch my train, I missed Brown win against Harvard for the first time in 14 years. At least I think it was 14. I don't really care about football. But apparently it was a really exciting game. I always have trouble following football games, but I was happy for Brown. I forget if football is the sport where the score goes up in sevens. My dad has tried to explain it to me, and so have all my ex-boyfriends. It's just never stuck. It was really cloudy and ugly today. Both Rhode Island and Connecticut were looking especially unimpressive. Ugly, even. Bummed me out. I like it when the world is beautiful. Seemed like the raindrops sliding down the sides of the train were like the tears of the sky, which made me feel sad. I wondered if I was secretly sad that I wasn't at the second half of the football game. But it was probably something else. Maybe it was nothing at all. I had Fiona Apple and Lana Del Rey blasting in my AirPods because I decided for no reason that I wanted to be melancholy and contemplative today. I listened to a lot of Blue Bannisters, the Lana album that came out when I was a freshman in college. I lived in Miami back then, and I remember how sad I was when that album came out. I was taken back there for a bit. I remembered how much more beautiful Miami was than where I was now. It was always warm and sunny, and I used to go to the beach with my friends a lot. It was so much more beautiful than where I was now, but I remembered that I was actually really melancholy and contemplative when I lived there, because Miami is kind of a vacuous place. I still love it though. I knew I was overthinking and potentially trying to find things to be sad about. I kept telling myself to look out at the houses next to the train tracks and imagine the people who live in them, but my eyes kept focusing on the dirt residue on the plexiglass windows instead. Everything about my immediate atmosphere was just so depressing. At about an hour in, a man in his 60s sat next to me. He arrived with another man in his 60s, his friend, and they both sported worn-out looking flannel shirts. But the one who sat next to me wasn't wearing a bucket hat. I was in no mood for a stranger to sit next to me. I had already decided that I wanted to be melancholy and contemplative on this train ride, and a stranger sitting next to me would most definitely hinder that plan of mine. But the train was crowded, and for a brief moment my view wasn't too bad. And he seemed nice enough. I started to wonder if the man who sat next to me knew I came straight from the whiteout-themed Harvard versus Brown football game. And that's why I was wearing a white shirt and blue jeans. He definitely didn't. But I was bored, and I like to make up stories about people in my head. So I decided that he probably wouldn't have liked that I left the game a little before halftime. And if he had asked why I did that, I would have to explain that I was getting overstimulated by all the people, and my phone had no service, and that my naturally wavy hair that I had straightened that morning turned wavy again from the humidity, and it made me secretly mad the whole game. Therefore, leaving the game early with my friend was really the most logical option. And all that aside, I had to make this train. I glanced at him and reminded myself of how bizarre it was to create that false narrative. Because I feel like if I said all this to a complete stranger, in reality, he would probably be nice enough to me. But I kept thinking, and maybe he secretly would judge me, think I'm this superficial girl who just cares about her phone and her hair, and that I lack school spirit, because that's probably how I sound. But none of this happened, and I just spent 20 minutes of my precious youth making up a random, probably very self-indulgent tale about what a stranger could think about me. He probably didn't think about me at all. He fell asleep for a good portion of the train ride, and I was happy about that because the reflective but reductive attitude I adopted was turning very self-conscious and negative. If he was asleep, he couldn't perceive me anymore. I just wanted to snap out of it. Was this social anxiety, or was I just an egomaniac? Maybe I shouldn't have had a black cherry White Claw for breakfast. I felt awful when I had to wake him up because I had to use the bathroom. He wasn't asleep. It was more of a, I'm just resting my eyes asleep. He got up quickly, and I walked down that train aisle even quicker. When I looked in the mirror at myself at the tiny bathroom that smelled like both piss and pine-scented cleaning products, I thought that my hair still looked bad. I paid way too much for this ticket, and that I used too much of my brain capacity to imagine all the ways that some stranger would disapprove of me, when I didn't even articulate one thought about him. I didn't think about who he was, where he was coming from, where he was going, why he kept looking at an interactive weather map on his phone. He was just busy being his own person, and I was busy worrying about all those assumed ways he would dislike me. A total stranger. I felt like I was just projecting because I was insecure, but I didn't really know what I was insecure about. And if you asked me in the moment, I probably would have said everything, and my hair looks horrible. But can I even call it projecting if I didn't say a single word out loud? When I got back to my seat, the man was back to looking at the interactive maps on his phone. And I have a bad habit of staring at other people's phone screens, and he noticed me looking. I'm tracking my boat, he said. But my music was playing a little too loud for me to understand. In milliseconds, I felt anxiety wash all over my body. I just built up a fake interaction with this man, and now I'm about to have a real one. I took out my AirPods really quick. I'm sorry, what did you say? I said I'm tracking my boat on my phone. It's amazing what phones can do now, right? Yeah, it is really amazing. We chatted for about 20 minutes and about his boat going from Connecticut to New Jersey, his New Jersey upbringing, his favorite restaurant that was also in New Jersey. He was really nice. He didn't have a New Jersey accent. In fact, he kind of sounded like he was from California. He loved that I asked about the name of his boat. Her name is Ophelia. She's not named after anyone or anything like that. I just love that name, he said. I like that name too. I like that boats always have girls' names. I told him that if I had a boat, I would name her Aphrodite or Athena. I don't know if I still agree with that, but he said those names are beautiful for a boat. When it was time for me to get off the train, he helped me get my suitcase down from above the seats and told me to have fun at my mom's art opening. He had asked what I was doing for the weekend while I was in New York, and I told him that I had almost no plans besides going to the art show where my mom's work was and going to the doctor tomorrow. He told me to get a lollipop at the doctor and told me to tell my mom congratulations. I don't remember his name, but I really wish I did.